Hello and welcome to tonight's SBC News. The Seychelles Pension Fund is selling 8 of its 28 properties as part of its strategy to diversify the kind of investment that it makes. This will be done in phases, starting with Corail d'Or Apartments at Northeast Point, an undeveloped plot of land at Anse-la-Mouche, La Clémentine Building on Pralin, and Pension House on La Digue. The chairman of the pension fund, Marc Poirot, says that there is an urgent need for the pension fund to review its current policies for the fund to remain sustainable.
Our actuaries told us in 2018 that we need to diversify the portfolio, and hence our goal is to bring to go from 50% to in the 40s this year, and possibly in the 30s, mid-30s next year. And basically, it's a rebalancing of the asset portfolio of Seychelles Pension Fund. One of the key points that came out in the 2018 actual report was the fact that the contributions being made today, which consists of 3% employee and 3% employer, is not sustainable for the long term of the fund. And therefore, they recommended back in 2018 that we move the goalposts, so to speak, from 3% to 4% and 5%. That hasn't happened. And for us, it's important, and we've already had discussions with the Ministry of Finance and with State House as well, that it is imperative. In the report, it was very clear, because people are living longer in Seychelles, they requested that we move the pension age from 60 to 65.
S5 students from the Pralin Secondary School this morning received their first dose of the Pfizer vaccine. However, only 50 students out of 102 from S5 who had registered to take the vaccine did so. Students in S1 and S4 will be vaccinated tomorrow, whereas those of S2 and S3 will receive their jabs on Friday. The Pralin Secondary School, which caters for secondary students from Baie-Sainte-Anne and Grand-Anse districts, is facing certain difficulties as parents are changing their minds about their children taking the vaccine. The Pfizer vaccines are being administered by health officers from Pralin. Students of the Vocational Training Center at Northeast Point will continue to follow their training outside of the facility until all renovation work is completed. The Department of Family is standing by their decision as they feel the facility is not conducive for learning, especially for those needing a wheelchair. The area around the three-building facility has a marsh area which has no outlet, and when it rains, it is susceptible for flooding, and the students have to cross the marsh as a shortcut to get to their garden, one of the 3 training courses they are following. At the moment, 27 out of 32 students continue to follow classes in agriculture, home economics, and arts and design at other institutions. Once the Vocational Training Center at Northeast Point is ready, a new module will be introduced to help those who are able academically.
We're working closely with the Ministry of Education to have one specific module in regards to the ICT program, because we think, or we know, that the students, they don't only dwell on the vocational training, but they can perform as any computer programming agents or some people with a computing background. And secondly, to the services that we're going to offer as when we finish the infrastructures, we're planning to have the DK or respite care for both the disabled and the elderly persons, whereby the relatives, the sons and daughters, can bring in their parents on a daycare basis. So then after 4, like we do for the children, and after 4 they come and get their parents to get them back home. People are longing for it because there are many children that do not go to work, professional beings that do not go to work but are waiting from home, taking care of their parents. So we do need this service for the children to get their parents in.
Air France has announced that as from the 29th of October this year, its customers will be able to travel to France and Seychelles, as it will be having 2 weekly flights. They will be operated throughout the winter season from October to the 26th of March next year. According to a communiqué from Air France, the flights will leave Paris-Charles de Gaulle on Thursdays and Saturdays, will arrive in Mahé the next day, and they will leave Mahé on Fridays and Sundays. The National Assembly cancelled its sitting today and other business this week, pending COVID testing for all members. This decision has been taken after members have been in contact with a member of staff who reported symptoms and had a positive test result yesterday evening. The National Assembly views this as a precautionary measure and expects to resume as soon as those involved are tested this week if there are no further reports of positive cases. There are 129 cases of pregnant women testing positive for COVID-19 between January and August this year. Health Minister Peggy Vidot gave this information following a question from the Port-Glo elected member Egbert Aglaé on this issue and measures or follow-up during and after pregnancy. She said the ministry encouraged mothers to take the COVID vaccine before and even during pregnancy. They undergo PCR tests before being admitted to hospital, and they receive the necessary information as everybody else as soon as they have fallen pregnant. She added that, unfortunately, the ministry has recorded 2 deaths amongst the 129 cases. The Ministry of Health has paid more than 24 million rupees in allowance for frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19 from June last year to August this year. Minister Vidot gave these details in answer to another question from Port-Glo's member Egbert Aglaé on the groups of health workers who are currently receiving the allowance and how much it is costing the country. Minister Vidot explained that these allowances are paid out according to the low, moderate or high-level risks were to encourage workers who are being exposed closely to positive COVID cases. However, since June this year, the number of workers receiving the allowances has reduced since risks are not that high as they were during the peak of community transmission, and there is the vaccination program. That's SBC News for now. A very good evening to you.